let's make a thread reel wreath. Save your empty thread reels from sewing projects to make this adorable thread reel wreath. Festive for the holidays, but also year-round for those of us who are crazy about sewing. To get started, pick up a wreath form. I used a 14-inch wire wreath form that I found at my local dollar store, but you could use foam or a pool noodle for some extra upcycling goodness. You will also need a hot glue gun with extra glue sticks, scissors, fabric scraps, an old flexible measuring tape, and plenty of thin gauge floral wire for wrapping the reels onto the wreath form. I use jewelry making wire cutters and pliers in this video, but you could use paper scissors to cut through this wire as it's very thin gauge. You'll also need thread reels that are empty or mostly empty. I used approximately 40 thread reels to make this project. I wanted to stick with the theme of mostly using vintage or wooden thread reels, but if you aren't able to find wooden or vintage thread reels, using plastic reels from modern day threads will also look great. Making the wreath is a fairly simple process. Plug in your hot glue gun to let it warm up. Go through your pile of thread reels and determine which ones you would like to keep as is, add a strip of fabric to, and which to leave empty. If you are going for a color theme, then you may want to unwrap any leftover threads that don't match your theme. If you are going for a colorful wreath, you may want to add colored strips of fabric to your empty reels in order to give them some added color. Since my wreath is multicolored, I'm going to add fabric to empty reels and also keep as many reels with the original threads that I can. Cut a scrap of fabric roughly the size of the reel width and fold the ends in towards the inside to prevent fraying. Secure the fabric to the reel with the warmed hot glue gun. Set it aside for later. Pick up the reels with original threads that you would like to keep. We need to secure these threads so that they do not slip off the reel while on the wreath. So put a small dot of hot glue on the loose ends of the thread to prevent unraveling. Work through this pile of reels and set aside for later. Grab your pile or box of ready thread reels. Pick up your wreath form and simply lay the reels on top of the wreath form to get a rough idea of where each reel will go and how it will fit together with other reels to form the primary part of the wreath. When you have a general idea of how you'd like to lay out the reels, you will need to cut off a piece of floral wire, insert through the center of the reel, and wrap the two wire ends around the metal wreath form, securing the reel to the form. If you have thin pliers to slide into the wreath form and help you navigate the wire wrapping, I recommend using them as they will greatly help you. Once you have wire wrapped every thread reel in place, examine the wreath. If the wreath still looks bare, fill in the gaps by wrapping a colorful ribbon around the wreath form. Add finishing touches to the wreath by draping a flexible measuring tape around the wreath or adding a bow at the top. Attach a thick cord to the back of the wreath frame to ensure that the weight of the wreath is being held by the cord. Since I used wooden thread reels, my wreath is a bit heavier than normal wreaths. This shouldn't cause a problem for the wreath hanger I have on my door, but just keep this in mind if you decide to make a wreath with wooden thread reels also. Display this wreath proudly in your sewing room, on your front door, or any place where it will receive the attention it deserves.